When looking at my age bracket of 30 to 35, various personal finance sources claim that I need to have about £14,500 as readily accessible money. And I know this because there is a trend in the personal finance space of creators covering this topic, what your net worth should be at which age. And when I see that £14,500, I can't help but feel like this is not very doable for most people. Surely most people, when seeing that number, will feel behind. And what are they going to do to make up for this? Maybe sell stuff that they have or start another side hustle. In this video, I'll do my best to answer these questions, but also look into the good news of why these numbers are not really what they seem, the bad news of how comparison can make us feel behind financially, and the comparison strategy I use to make sure I get to my financial goals. Hello, I'm Naomi. I live in London and I started the Good Money community to help you feel good about money. So before we start selling everything we have and embrace minimalism, I looked into the numbers a bit more to see what was going on here. Because most of the creators covering this topic are talking about the average net worth that people should have by a certain age. Now, average is the key word here. An average can be handy to look into a group of people and what numbers kind of reflect their behavior. But the problem with averages is that you can have a few people in a group that behave completely differently from the rest of the group. In this example, this could mean that a few people save way more than the rest of the group, skewing the average towards that big number. What is useful to look at instead is the median. The median is the place where 50% of people have saved up more and 50% of people have saved up less than the number that we are looking at. So if we want to get to this point of how much should you have saved by which age, it can be handy to get this median into the picture as well. So when looking again for the age bracket of 30 to 35, the median number isn't £14,500, it is £1,000. Now this is a difference of £13,000. So that completely changes the picture. Suddenly, you probably feel much better about the number and the age bracket that you belong to. So with that good news out of the way comes the bad news, because this topic made me more interested in comparing and what effect that has on us. And unsurprisingly, comparison can make us feel bad. There's always a person out there who has a few more years of experience than you and who is trying to reach the same goal as you are. Looking at their lives and especially failing to see the time they've put in or the experience that sets them apart from you can make you feel behind or in some way less good. An example is me starting this channel. This is the 5th video on the channel, and it's hard not to look at these other personal finance creators who are years ahead of me and feel like somehow I might not be able to reach that. But surprisingly, research does not say that we should do away with this comparison. In fact, we simply cannot do away with comparison. So apparently, of all the thoughts our brain spawns, about 10% is allocated to comparison. This means that of every thought we have, 1 out of 10 is about comparing ourselves. This is good news because it means we don't have to work hard to try and not compare. And even better news, turns out comparison can be pretty handy. But before I get into that, it's good to know that there are 2 types of comparison, generally speaking. We have upward comparison, which means that we are comparing ourselves to someone who is ahead of us. Then we also have downward comparison, meaning that we compare ourselves to someone with less years of experience or someone with a smaller net worth. Now, upward comparison can feel motivating. I remember reading the autobiography of Steve Jobs and feeling really motivated. But upward comparison, unsurprisingly again, can also lead to us feeling insecure. Downward comparison, if we're not careful, can lead to unrealistic optimism. So what we want to know is how can we stick to the positive effects of comparison so that we can get closer to our financial goals, because that's the whole point. To do this, we need to keep 2 questions in mind when comparing ourselves. The first one is, who am I comparing myself to? And the second one is, have I compared myself to myself a few years ago. So let me explain. When I decided to make videos on this channel to teach people about personal finance, it's easy to look at these other creators and not feel behind. Starting this channel makes me feel somewhat self-conscious, and whenever I publish a video, I feel like it could be better. Part of this is because I compare myself to these people with millions of subscribers and years of experience. Take someone like Graham Stephan, for example. He is seen as one of the biggest personal finance creators on this platform. He has years of experience, he has a way bigger net worth than me and a bigger audience. He also has a full-time team of people helping him write, film, and edit his videos. So surely this comparison isn't correct, right? I can't compare myself to someone who has years ahead of me, more knowledge than I do, and a big team who helps him with almost everything he does. So instead, let's make a fair comparison. A smaller personal finance channel that maybe is 6 months into making videos. A person like that who doesn't have an editor, doesn't have a team, and who's still finding their voice on the platform, just like me. This person is just one element away from where I'm at currently. I'm making a fair comparison. So much less likely to end up feeling deflated when comparing myself. So when circling back to finances, it's helpful to compare ourselves to people who are in the exact same position, but one trait or one characteristic away. This way we can stay in the realm of feeling motivated when doing upward comparison instead of feeling deflated because we're making an unfair comparison. Now, for the second question, have I compared myself to myself a while ago? This is a form of downward comparison that can be beneficial. Our brains aren't really geared to realize that progress takes time. And when that time has passed and we've made progress, we fail to look back and appreciate what we've done with small steps along the way. It can feel like nothing is happening when you're saving just £5 a month. But if you do this year on year, you'll start seeing a big increase in how much money you've saved compared to who you were a few years ago. So the truth is, my financial journey might have been a bit slow, but it's never been this consistently good since I stopped comparing myself to people with crazy different circumstances. When looking at the chart for average versus the median savings, you can compare yourself to your age bracket, and whether you're starting at zero or you're in debt or you've just started saving money, it is good to remember that nothing but good old consistency is going to get you there. It's never too late to get started. And the key takeaway is to ask yourself, who am I comparing myself to, and have I compared myself to myself a while ago? If you now feel more energized and optimistic about reaching your financial goals, I have a video here for you on how I created a personal finance plan from scratch and a step-by-step plan that you can follow to get to your financial goals. Thank you for watching. Till next time.